Kurobe, Mawufe Numetole, as greetings to all Africans. We are His Imperial Majesty, Àgèlògbàgàn, Agbovi the first of the only maroon monarchy in the world, called Ganlodo. Ganlodo loosely means those that are part of the movement that have broken the chains to restore order. And speaking of restoring order, we could say this is part of the series of videos on cultural clarification. We could also call some of these videos, did anybody else see that pink elephant in the room? We'll get right to it. There are many people that have come into this tradition because of African pride. They started maybe, they didn't know culture or anything, so they started probably studying ancient Tamaray or Kemet. Even before that, just had a strong RBG, red, black, and green mentality, a black only, by black ideology, marry black, what you could call sexual politics, all African, all black, Then eventually they run into the culture, and the one most popular that people run into outside of Tamaray is Isheshe, which most people misname the Yoruba Ifa Orisha tradition. Then, of course, Akan, and then there's Vodun. Those are the three popular ones, known ones, and with the Isheshe being more dominant. So here's the confusing thing. That, we're not trying to upset anyone. Sometimes someone may have been sitting in the wrong part of the room and did not see that elephant. May have thought it was part of the wall or whatnot. We're here to inform you about the elephant. For those people, these are the people that once things are revealed to them properly, they would reassess what they're doing and act accordingly. When you know better, you do better. Then there are others that's going to watch this video and try to justify it. But it's going to be hard for them to justify it, especially when they're on record saying certain things. And let's get to it. Whites shouldn't be in our tradition. Non-Africans in general should not be in our tradition. They cannot possibly be properly initiated because they don't have the Ashe. These are people, we're not the only ones at Ganlodo. We're not the only, at Ganlodo, we're not the only ones that say this. There are other people out there that may not be as hardcore nationalists as you may be, but they still have these same opinions, when it comes to African tradition, it's a no-no. But I'm mainly talking to the people that have this black-only stance, African-only stance from this perspective. And anybody wants to reply to us, we're at ekabokilombo at Gmail, EKAABOKILOMBO at gmail.com. EKAABOKILOMBO at Gmail. And the question we are here posing to the black nationalists that are in these African traditions, and they're primarily in Isheshe, but they run across the board. You see more black nationalists in Isheshe and in Akan tradition. But this is to whoever you are, Vodun, Akan, or whatever. How is it you reconcile being a black nationalist, having your sexual politics is even African only, black only, your political ideology is for blacks, your business, economic ideology is for blacks, by blacks. But your spiritual teacher is known for initiating non-African people into the African tradition. And many of them, especially within the Isheshe tradition, I don't know where they started this, give them their last name. This is known coming out of Ashokbo and Ife. This is a known practice. Where now they don't just give whites the last name; they're giving African people that they initiate or give ilekes to or do whatever a reading for. They're giving them the last name too. Now that right there in itself is problematic because your name is your name, but they're stamping their name on you. It's almost like a slave mark. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but they're marking you. That's not something they do in Yoruba land. They're doing that on the outside to claim, just like the marriage ring. When that started as a marker to show that this woman was bound to a man. Originally, men did not wear marriage rings in medieval Europe, where it started. So putting your last name on somebody is marking them, right? So that's a problem in itself. But how do you reconcile being a black nationalist, having a black-only ideology, and your spiritual guide is not of that make, and not only not of that make, regularly initiates white people. A so-called initiate, because, Yovo, non-Africans, they can't be initiated in the proper sense. They could go through the physical act, but that's it. So if you're dealing with someone like that, what does that say about you? Now, let's say you didn't know that, then that's something else. But most of you know these Yoruba Babalawos and whatnot, so-called Babalawos, that initiate whites. What do you say when you show up at their house or you go over there to Nigeria and you see all those Yovo? You keep quiet, don't you? Why? Because you still have a messianic complex, Messiah complex. This is the new Jesus. This Yoruba Babalawo, Yoruba Ianifa, or whoever chief or chiefess or whatever. This is not what you're consciously saying, but this is what's been ingrained in you to have that messianic complex. It has to be messianic because here it is just yesterday. You told us you would not deal with anybody that deal with Yovo in the culture. Then you run across the Savior, the Messiah, Yoruba, or it could be somebody here in America, And now all of a sudden, you got their last name, and even if you don't have their last name, you're a part of their spiritual house. What message does that send for those of you who have children? You're teaching your children about hardcore facts about our history and people like Martin Delaney, Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, and the like. You teaching them that, then you take them to the Ile, the so-called temple, or travel to Nigeria, or one of the Nigerians come over here, Yoruba come over here, and then they see non-Africans come around. It's kind of like what we still tell Christians, like, don't be surprised your children grow up lying because you don't do nothing but lie to them anyway. Easter bunny laying eggs. Fat white man coming down the chimney, you ain't even got no chimney, to give out the gifts that you bought. But you're going to say some fat white man is responsible for, and for those of you that want to blackanize Santa Claus also, same thing. So they grow up lying because you teach them lies, right? So now, why do you think so many of the younger people in the Isheshe, so-called Ifa Orisha tradition, are so wayward? They act worse than church children, if we could say that, Meaning, a lot of people feel that, well, in African tradition, the children are going to be better because we have a higher standard. The tradition has a higher standard, but once again, they still have that Christian mentality. When they come into the tradition, they drag it through the tradition. So, what does this say to the children when you are dobaling, prostrating to this guy or this woman who initiates white people, who has the same last name? This white Yovo come sit right in. There's nothing you can do about it but leave. Yovo come sit right in the living room with you while your spiritual master is entertaining them, laying out the red carpet for them. Probably finna give them a cheapsy next time they come to Nigeria. What do you say? How do you explain this to your children? Now, a lot of times the children, they're not going to say nothing. But these things they log and they begin to act out. See, all this pretty stuff they show on Facebook, people dressed up and all that. We know how it is in those Isheshe homes. We visited many of them. And it ain't what it looks like online. A lot of chaos. The children are very, a lot of times very disrespectful to their own parents. But then you find out it's probably because of stuff like this. So if you are a black nationalist, call yourself a maroon, black nationalist, whatever, that means you have some kind of black only policy. That's just like if you were a Christian and if you own some black power stuff. You know what's funny? The Christians seem like they got more sense than a lot of these Sheshe people. Because any black Christian I've run into that's on some black power stuff, they go to a church where ain't nothing but black people. And the pastor usually has some kind of political ideology very similar. But for some reason in the Sheshe, it never matches up. Over the years, we've met many people, especially in that Atlanta area, that were hardcore nationalists. That's how me and them bonded, so to speak. And they were in the Sheshe tradition. The next thing you know, they're bowing down to Abimbola, who said one day Abimbola, who said that in a college professor's class down in Florida, a Yovo Hispanic or Yimbo Hispanic. He said, in his own tape, he said that Obatala is white. And it just so happened all the students in the classroom were white. It was funny that the professor got at Abimbola about calling Obatala white, you know. But we're trying to figure out how does this work? How do you juggle that? It's like keeping up a lie. Like how many, you got to tell one lie to keep up another lie and all that. Instead of just go and get the truth out, however it may fall. So how do you juggle that? Yes, I'm a black nationalist. Yes, I won't be with nothing but a black man or a black woman. Hold on, let me go and I got to answer the phone. My spiritual teacher that initiates white people, the Arab of such and such land or whatever, or the Asheda of this land or this Baba, well-known Baba this or Professor that, who initiates whites. Let me get this call right quick. And I'll be back over here to juggle back with you on some black nationalism. But right now, I'm finna go over here where I can't even mention that. But this is my spiritual teacher. And here's the sad part for you. For the black nationalists that continue to deal with these people. You've had opportunities to deal with black nationalistic Babalawos who not only are black nationalistic, they know the culture. But you chose to go the other way. Now, for y'all, it's no hope. It's no hope. But do us a favor, and do your ancestors a favor, and do yourself a favor. It feels good to tell the truth. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor, and stop calling yourself black nationalists. If you're dealing with somebody that deal with non-Africans in this tradition, stop calling yourself a black nationalist. Until you can get your mind right and say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm breaking away from this. Don't call yourself a maroon or a black nationalist if you dealing with a priest or priestess that deal with the non-African. And especially if you deal with them. Some of you say, well, it's cool to do a divination for them, but don't initiate them. Really? We haven't learned the lesson of Tamaray yet. Everybody talking about Tamaray, and they want to put up these Tamaray images and whatnot. Nobody's talking about the lesson that we should have learned from Tamaray and how they got their blood watered down and how they started doing stuff just like that, what you think is all right. Well, we just initiate one and this is the good one, blah, blah, blah. And now look, there's no more Tamaray. There's Egypt. There's no more Tamaray. The coach is dead. Mainly because of interracial foolishness and allowing foreigners in. Now, one last point is this. The deities, many of the deities have left many, especially major parts of Africa. Why? Because they have been sold out. It is just like if you're in a relationship and the person's not treating you right consistently, and matter of fact, verbally abusing, whatever, you eventually leave. These deities were tired of being sold out, and they left. Now, that being said, anybody that deals with non-Africans, they don't have any deities to initiate you to. So now, not only can the non-African not be initiated, but the African that is trying to deal with those people that deal with the non-African cannot get a deity from these people anyway. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So if you were initiated by any of these people, if you received any kind of spiritual implement or whatever from any of these people, any of these Arbas, Àgèlògbàgàn, and the one out of Ife, the one before the current one, and the one now, that's his son, they all initiate Oyimbo. They stamp they go look up on Facebook, and you're going to see a lot of white Hispanics with and people from England, white people from England with their last names. So if you received anything from any of these people, you didn't receive anything but a physical implement. You didn't receive anything spiritual, because they don't have any deity to give to you, because they have sold our culture. Once again, we can be reached at Ekabo Kilombo, EKAA, KILOMBO @gmail.com. Our website is restorationhealing.com, restorationhealing.com. And our monarchy is ganlodokingdom.com, GANLODO kingdom.com. Odigba.